We are not raising children anymore. We are optimizing assets. Somewhere in the last decade, the act of parenting shifted from a biological imperative to a managerial position. We stopped trusting our instincts and started trusting the algorithm. And the most dangerous lie we have swallowed hook, line, and sinker is the belief that if we just buy the right educational tool, the right developmental kit, or the right high-performance gear, we can purchase our way out of the crushing anxiety that we are failing. But here is the truth that no marketing campaign will ever tell you. Most of the things you are buying for your child's future are actually therapy for your own present insecurities. We aren't buying education. We are buying reassurance. We are buying a physical receipt that proves we are good parents. I say this not from a place of judgment, but from a place of deep personal humiliation. Let me take you back 3 years. It was 2:00 a.m. I was exhausted, overworked, and feeling that distinct hollow guilt of a parent who had spent the last week physically present but mentally absent, buried in my phone or my laptop. I was scrolling through social media and I saw it, the ultimate STEM coding robot for toddlers. It promised to teach logic sequencing and critical thinking to children as young as 3. It was $200, a ludicrous amount of money for a plastic piece of junk that beeped. But in that moment at 2:00 a.m., my brain didn't see a toy. I saw a life raft. I saw a promise that even if I wasn't reading enough to him, even if I was too tired to play pretend, this robot would bridge the gap. It would ensure he didn't fall behind the other kids in his imaginary future Harvard application. I bought it. I paid for overnight shipping. I wanted that box to arrive so I could hold it and feel the weight of my own goodness. And you know what happened? He played with it for exactly 14 minutes. Then he got frustrated because the interface was clunky. He threw it across the room, and then he spent the next 2 hours playing with a cardboard tube from a roll of paper towels. The robot sat in the corner gathering dust, a $200 monument to my own insecurity. It stared at me, mocking my attempt to outsource my engagement. That robot wasn't for him. It was a pacifier for me. It was a talisman against the fear that I wasn't doing enough. And that brings us to the uncomfortable question we need to answer today. If we stripped away all the educational labels, all the developmental promises, and all the status signaling from our nursery rooms, how much of it is actually for the child, and how much of it is just a costume we wear to convince the world and ourselves that we have this parenting thing under control? Does your child need that object, or do you need the dopamine hit of buying it? To understand why we do this, we have to look at the water we are swimming in. Modern American parenting has become an extreme sport, and the marketplace knows it. We are living in the era of the industrial parenting complex. Marketing firms have weaponized our biology. They know that the primal fear of a parent is that their offspring will not survive or thrive. In the ancestral environment, thriving meant finding food and avoiding predators. In the modern American economy, thriving means getting into a good preschool, mastering Mandarin by age 5, and developing grit before you can even tie your shoes. We are bombarded by the illusion of success. Open Instagram or TikTok, and what do you see? You don't see messy realities. You see curated exhibit. You see beige Montessori-aligned playrooms that look like art galleries. You see children engaging calmly with open-ended material. You see parents who seem to have infinite patience and infinite budgets. This creates a psychological phenomenon known as comparative deficit. Even if you are doing a great job, the algorithm feeds you evidence that someone else is doing it better earlier and with more organic material. This triggers a response called compensatory consumption. When we feel a deficit in our self-concept, in this case, the fear that we are too busy, too stressed, or too poor to be perfect, we buy products that symbolize the traits we wish we had. We buy the eco-friendly wooden non-toxic hand-carved block set, not because the kid cares about sustainable forestry, but because we want to identify as the kind of parent who cares about sustainable forestry. Consider this: the global market for educational toys is projected to hit tens of billions of dollars. Yet researchers and child psychologists have noted that creativity and imaginative play scores in children have actually been declining over the last 2 decades. We are spending more money than ever to optimize childhood, yet we are producing a generation that struggles with boredom and self-regulation. Why? Because we are replacing human connection with consumer products. We have been sold the lie that stuff can replicate the nuance of interaction. We are trying to automate love. We are trying to scale intimacy, and it is not working. So let's walk through the nursery of errors. Let's look at the 7 items that seem like they are for the child but are actually expensive receipts for our own parental ego. The aesthetic beige Montessori kit. Let's start with the visual plague of our time, the sad beige toy trend. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The rainbow stackers that aren't actually rainbow colored but are shades of oatmeal sand and slightly darker oatmeal. The wooden grass toys that look like mid-century modern sculptures. The psychology, why do we buy this? Because chaos terrifies us. Children are agents of chaos. They are loud, messy, and sticky. Their natural inclination is toward bright, garish, high-contrast colors, primary reds, blues, and yellows, because that is what their developing vision actually registers best. But those colors clash with our living room decor. They clash with the peaceful home aesthetic we are trying to project. Buying beige toys is an attempt to gentrify childhood. It is a control mechanism. We tell ourselves it's calming for the child, but in reality, it is calming for us. We want our homes to look like a magazine spread to prove that we haven't lost our identity to parenthood. The hard truth. By sanitizing their visual environment, you might actually be understimulating them. But the greater cost is financial and emotional. You are paying a 300% markup for aesthetic wood that your child will find boring within days. A plastic Tupperware container and a wooden spoon often hold more fascination for a toddler than a $50 artisanal rattle. When you force an adult aesthetic onto a child, you are essentially saying your world needs to be palatable to me, rather than I am entering your world. It is performative minimalism. Interactive question. Look at your child's toy shelf right now. Does it look like a place where a child plays? Or does it look like the lobby of a boutique hotel in Scandinavia? The swap, go to a thrift store. Buy the ugly, bright, high-contrast blocks. Or better yet, take them outside. Nature is not beige. Nature is green, blue, brown, and bright floral. It's free and it's the original sensory bin. The future coder robot or app for toddlers. This is the one that got me. The caterpillar that teaches sequencing. The screen-based game that claims to teach Python logic to 3-year-olds. The sheer panic that if your child isn't literate in code by kindergarten, they will be destitute. The psychology, this is pure future-proofing anxiety. We know the economy is shifting. We know AI is coming. We are terrified our children will be obsolete. So we try to download a skill set into them before they can even speak in full sentences. It feels productive. It feels like we are giving them a head start in the rat race. It soothes our fear of their future unemployment. The hard truth, here is the reality check. The coding languages of today will likely be obsolete by the time your toddler enters the workforce. Furthermore, real coding logic isn't about pushing buttons on a plastic robot. It's about problem-solving, cause and effect, and narrative structure. A child staring at a screen or a blinking robot is often engaging in passive consumption, not active creation. Worse, you are introducing the dopamine loops of digital devices earlier and earlier under the guise of education. You are training them to look for immediate feedback from a device rather than working through frustration in the real world. Interactive question. Are you buying that coding toy because your child showed an interest in logic, or because you are afraid of the headline you read about the job market in 2040, the swap building blocks and puzzles? Physical cause and effect. If a tower falls, it falls. That is physics. That is logic. That is debugging a problem in the real world. It requires 0 batteries and teaches infinite resilience. The all-terrain luxury stroller system. The upper baby, the bugaboo, the strollers that cost as much as a used Honda Civic. They have suspension systems better than my first car. They are sleek, massive, and scream status. The psychology, this is the SUV of parenting. It represents safety and armor. In a world that feels unsafe, we want to put our most precious asset in a tank. But it is also a massive status signal. Pushing that stroller says I have researched the best and I can afford the best. It is a membership card to the club of successful modern parents. It validates that we are providing a smooth ride for our child literally and metaphorically. The hard truth. Your baby does not care about the suspension. They do not care about the leather-trimmed handle. In fact, the more massive and comfortable the stroller, the more isolated the child often is from the world. They are strapped in, reclined, and often facing away from you or facing a screen. But the real cost is the friction it adds to your life. These things are heavy. They are hard to fold. They take up the entire trunk. You become a slave to the gear. You stop going to certain places because it's too much hassle to bring the stroller. The object that was supposed to give you freedom actually limits your mobility. Interactive question. When you push that stroller, do you feel proud because your baby is comfortable? Or do you feel proud because other parents are looking at the brand logo, the swap, a simple baby carrier, or a sling? Wear your baby. They get the warmth of your body, the rhythm of your heartbeat, and they see the world from your eye level. It costs a fraction of the price and builds a bond that a $200 stroller never can. The monthly developmental subscription box. The boxes that arrive every month, curated by experts promising the exact right toy for the exact neurological leap your child is supposedly making this week. The psychology. This is the outsourcing of mental load. We are tired. We don't have time to read Piaget or Vygotsky. We are terrified we are missing a window of opportunity. These subscriptions sell us the fantasy of optimized curriculum. It makes us feel like we have hired a private tutor who visits once a month. It automates the good parenting process. We pay the subscription fee and we get a box of absolution delivered to our doorstep. The hard truth: children do not develop on a monthly shipping schedule. Development is non-linear. One month they are ahead, the next they regress. These boxes often pile up unopened or barely used, creating physical clutter that leads to mental clutter. More importantly, it commodifies the relationship. It teaches you that the solution to a bored child is a new product arriving in the mail, rather than innovation with what you already have. It kills the parent's own creativity in engaging with their child because you are waiting for the instructions in the box. Interactive question: how many of those curated toys are currently at the bottom of a bin buried under random socks and wrappers? Be honest. The swap rotation. Take the toys you already have, put 80% of them in a closet, and rotate them out every 2 weeks. The old toys become new again. The novelty is in the reintroduction, not the purchase. The bilingual electronic sound books, the books with buttons that shout Apple Manzana in a digitized metallic voice. We buy them thinking we are raising a global citizen. The psychology. This is the efficiency trap. We want our kids to be smart, but we are often too tired to read to them for hours. We think if I can't speak Spanish, this book will do it for me. It feels like we are hacking language acquisition. It's the desire to give them a skill we don't possess without putting in the effort to learn it alongside them. The hard truth: language acquisition is social. It relies on facial expressions, tone, and context. A disembodied voice coming from a plastic speaker does not teach language. It teaches cause and effect. I push, button, noise happened. It is noise pollution. These toys are often overstimulating and distract from the actual act of reading. They turn a book, a portal to imagination, into a soundboard. You aren't raising a bilingual child. You are raising a child who knows how to press a button to make a noise stop. Interactive question: does your child actually repeat the words, or do they just mash the buttons to hear the noises overlap until you have a headache? The swap you, reading a book. Even if you only speak one language, the richness of your vocabulary, the modulation of your voice, and the physical closeness of lap reading are worth 1,000 electronic tutors. If you want them to hear another language play music or have them interact with actual human speakers, the smart bassinet and high-tech sleep trackers. The socks that monitor heart rate, the cameras that track breathing, the bassinets that rock automatically when they sense a cry. The psychology: this is data-driven anxiety. We live in a world of metrics. We track our steps, our calories, our screen time. We believe that if we can measure it, we can control it. We are terrified of SIDS, of course, but we are also terrified of the unknown. We buy these devices to buy sleep, yes, but mostly to buy the illusion of omnipotence. We want to be the all-seeing eye. We don't trust our ability to hear the baby. We trust the app. The hard truth: these devices often increase parental anxiety. You spend your night staring at a graph instead of sleeping. Every false alarm spikes your cortisol. You become addicted to the data, checking the app instead of checking the baby. You stop listening to your intuition, the biological tuning that thousands of years of evolution gave you, and start listening to a notification. You are outsourcing your vigilance to a server that might crash. Interactive question: are you looking at your baby, or are you looking at the live feed of your baby on your phone while sitting in the next room? The swap room: sharing safely. A basic sound monitor. Trusting your ears. Learning the difference between a fuss and a cry. The data won't save you, but your presence will. The future CEO: minimalist wardrobe. The tiny trench coats. The expensive organic linen rompers that cost more than your own shirt. The refusal to put them in anything with a cartoon character on it. The psychology: this is child as avatar. Our children are extensions of our personal brand. If they look put together, we look put together. If they look like a tiny adult, it validates our sophistication. We are dressing the child we want to be seen with, not the child who wants to roll in the mud. It is a rejection of the messiness of childhood in favor of the curated image of adulthood. The hard truth: kids are gross. They vomit, they poop, they spill grape juice. Putting a toddler in a $60 dry clean only linen shirt is an act of insanity. But deeper than that, it restricts their movement. It restricts their play. If you are constantly hovering, saying, "Don't get that dirty," you are prioritizing the fabric over the experience. You are teaching them that appearance is more important than exploration. You are dressing a doll, not raising a human. Interactive question. Who are you dressing them for? The playground or the Instagram photo you're going to post later? The swap comfortable, durable clothes that can take a beating. Hand-me-downs? Let them wear the ugly shirt with the dinosaur if it makes them happy. Let them be little tacky, mismatched children. They have the rest of their lives to wear uniform. Let's take a deep breath. If you have bought any of these things or all of them, you are not a bad parent. You are a parent living in a high-pressure, hyper-capitalist society that preys on your deepest fears. You bought the robot because you love your child. You bought the expensive stroller because you want them to be safe. The intention was love. The execution was just redirected by marketing. But here is the good news. You can stop. You can hop off the hamster wheel of performative parenting. Your child does not need a curated childhood. They do not need to be optimized, tracked, or future-proofed by the time they are 4. They do not need you to spend your paycheck on a wooden rainbow to prove you care. What they need is the one thing you cannot buy on Amazon. They need your eyes lighting up when they walk into the room. They need you to sit on the floor, the actual floor, not a beige rug, and build a crooked tower that falls down. They need you to answer their 1,000th why question with patience, not an iPad. So here is my challenge to you today. Don't go buy something to fix your parenting guilt. Do the opposite. Go unsubscribe from one educational toy email list. Take one bin of toys that your child ignores and put it in the garage. Clear the space, and then just sit with them. With no agenda, no developmental goal, no tracking. Just you, them, and the beautiful, messy, unoptimizable reality of being together. Because in the end, your child won't remember the $200 robot. They will remember you. And that is the only investment that actually compounds. Thanks for watching. If this hit a nerve or if you have a guilt purchase sitting in your closet right now, tell me about it in the comments. Let's destigmatize this together. I'll see you in the next one.